Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, Mr. Chair, it is 6:30, so you can call your Salary Commission meeting to order.
Good evening, everybody. I'm calling the Salary Commission meeting to order. Kevin, can you do a roll call for us?
Certainly can, Mr. Chair. Sir Abe Turkey,
Present.
Vice Chair Medina Aja,
Present.
and Chair Faisal Azim.
Present.
And we should be expecting Masood at any time, but you have a quorum of 3, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We have a quorum, so we can start the meeting. The first item on the agenda is to approve the Salary Commission notes from our last meeting on May 22nd. Can I get a motion to approve the Salary Commission notes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Do I have we have on the floor the motion to approve the Salary Commission notes. All in agreement, please say.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody present has approved the meeting notes. So let it be noted that we have approved the Salary Commission notes. Oh, I see Masood has just joined. Masood, we were just voting for the approval of the Salary Commission notes. How would you like to vote since you are here? Would you like to approve the minutes?
Yes, it is approved.
Okay, with that, we have unanimous votes for approving the Salary Commission notes, so it's approved. The next item is for the interview of the Commissioner Pam Treece. Before we start the interview, anybody wants to add anything or has anything that they want to mention?
I just want to quickly discuss how do we start the question? At times, I think we're just waiting for each other to ask a question.
Yeah, I think last time we agreed that I can ask most of the questions, but then we started asking. I'm okay either way. I can start with the questions that we have talked about.
Yes, I think when you are done with the questions you have, and then maybe you can offer us and.
Okay, I will do that. So I will go through the questions that we already agreed about, unless she already covers them in the questions that she, like the statement that she makes, and then I will open the floor to you guys. Sounds good, everybody?
Yes.
I'll be off screen so that just the Salary Commission members will be on screen, just to make it easier. Like
you'll be timekeeping for us, right?
Yes, I can. So then I'll pop back on when it's time.
Oh, cute.
So I will give you. I'll let you know when it's been about 20 minutes, so that you have 5 minutes for Q&A.
Sounds perfect. Okay, I think if we are, do we have Commissioner Treece already here or not?
We do not have her yet. I'm watching for her.
Okay. I'm hoping everybody had a chance to go through the answers that Commissioner Harrington sent us offline. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
They were not really the answers. If you're talking about the one pager that was sent by the chairs, that was just a little bit of a backdrop and her position, how she believes the type of things they do, but not the answer to the questions.
The email actually had 6 different documents, and one of them specifically had all the questions and answers.
Lots of documents then. Yeah.
Yeah, there were like 8 pages of question and answers.
Thank you. Thank you for identifying.
I have a question for the staff. You know, they last Excel comparison chart that we got. Can we get that one in a PDF? For some reason, I get a lot of error error numbers in mine. It doesn't open in Google Docs.
Yeah, mine too. It has to be open in a certain format.
Would be happy to save that in a PDF and send it over to you tonight.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting how to go about the interview for Commissioner Harrington, since like when I went through the answers, like she covered most of the, like in my mind, like pretty much all the questions. So I think there, what I will do for her is I will just kind of ask her anything that she wants to add, and I'll just open it.
I just have, sorry, are we starting?
No, good.
Okay. I just have one more question for, after reading the answers to Commissioner Harrington's answers, I had just this one question that, in her opinion, should public service positions like county commissioners have compensation at par with the private sector?
Yeah, so when I read her answers, to me, it seems like that's what she is suggesting, but yeah, maybe.
It's just,
but it'll be good to like get her explicit answer. And I think there's some difference of opinion, I think there, and it seems like almost, at least the examples that I've seen, the elected officials don't get the same thing, at least in my experience, that the private sector might give. And I think some people basically say that it's kind of part of the public service aspect of it, but yeah, that's a good point. I think
she brought it up, the comparison, so that's an extended question.
I think it's a good question. That makes sense to me.
Folks, can I ask Adriana a quick question about that? Since she submitted written testimony, is there anything we need to do to make that public, since all the rest of the interviews are part of the recordings?
I'm sorry, Tony, your question is whether the documented submittal that Kathryn Harrington submitted, whether that needs to somehow be made public?
Yeah, if we should actually include that in the public agenda packet or something. Yeah.
That's a good question. I think it was public comment. So I think
no, she sent
actually it wasn't.
Right.
Say that again.
I think it was sent via email to the salary committee.
Right. Yeah. I think I'll have to look at it, but I think because there wasn't any sort of deliberation, it wouldn't need to be made public. It would be subject to public disclosure if it was requested. And so it should be made a part of whatever materials are going to be evaluated today. And so, or maybe your question is whether Kevin should include it as part of the packet. I guess that would be a way of addressing all of the issues.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's that folks can refer to it in case anyone public would have questions about it.
Yes, we can certainly add that to the packet.
Yeah, full disclosure, some of the ads, I didn't read the pages 3 to 8, so I have to read them. But if the rest of the panel decides not to have a full-blown interview with the Commissioner Harrington, that's fine. I will read those items myself later on. Okay.
We will ask her to go through a statement as well, and make any updates that she has. I see Commissioner Treece is here. Thank you so much, Commissioner Treece, for joining us.
My apologies for being late.
Flexible.
I'm
you're in
sorry.
good time. We just started. You're in good time. And thank you for being flexible, meeting us later in the day.
No problem. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Just in order to be quick, let me just quickly introduce all of us. My name is Faisal Azim. I'm the chair of this commissioner for this year. This is my first time on a commission like this. Madhya Amjad is our vice chair, and Ibrahim Turkey and Masood Rashid are the other two members of our salary commission. board. We had a fifth member who had to drop out, so this year we only have 4 members. I think
Thank you
with
for your
that,
service.
and then I think you must have gotten our questions ahead of time, so we'll let you kind of make a statement and both introduction of yourself, your background, and anything that you want to answer, and then we can go through the questions as they come up. The
Okay.
floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I am in my sixth year of 2 terms. So I started out as a half-time commissioner and quickly realized that this job was more than half-time work, and put together and worked on a charter change to allow for full-time employment of our commission with the with voter approval, and I was very pleased when that happened. My personal background is I've spent 21 years in executive leadership in a large utility here in Pacific Core. I went on to, excuse me.
Commissioner, is it just me or is anybody else having some audio issues or like it's a little bit?
Yeah.
Same thing, hard to hear, but
Is it? It might be my internet. May I?
Commissioner, do you want to just drop off and then call back in? I think it might fix itself. It might resolve if you leave and then return to the meeting.
I don't have great service here, so we'll see. So thank you, and I'll give it a try. What's the saying? Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
I think also another way could be if she only does audio, because that
that might take less bandwidth.
Bandwidth, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was a connection issue or a microphone issue.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but it was mine.
She also might be able to call in, like on her cell phone into the Zoom meeting. That might resolve it as well. But we'll try. We'll see how this goes.
Sounds good. Thanks, Anne. I think I know what Masood is doing.
I wonder, since we're getting started late with Commissioner Treece, and we do have a little bit of extra time, I'm wondering if we should ask Chair Harrington to come a little bit later.
Yeah, I can text her. What time do you want her here?
Maybe she can come at 7:15, I think.
Yeah, I can let her know.
Thank you so much. Good catch, Tony. So while we are waiting, I think once we are done with the interviews today, we can start working more on the individual committees that we have. So just like a reminder, I think more to myself than anybody else. Okay, I see that Commissioner Treece is here. Welcome back.
Hopefully this will be better. Can you hear me better now?
It's about the same. I think there were a couple of ideas. Anne mentioned that maybe if you call on the phone, that might have a better audio.
Well, how about, is it better with my video off?
Oh, it's way better.
Ew.
Yeah, this works.
Okay. You lose my, I tend to use my hands and felt a lot when I speak. So thank you. I'm sorry for my poor connection here.
No worries.
And I believe the question was just a little bit about myself and what I bring to the commission.
Yes.
So I have had a long career. I started as a teacher, have always worked kind of in the public service realm. I did work for investor-owned utility. I left as the vice president of Oregon External Affairs. had large groups that I managed, and then went into economic development, working through nonprofits, and ran the West Side Economic Alliance for 9 years. So come to this job with a great deal of experience in the private sector, in the nonprofit sector, and have learned a great deal over the last 6 years about the functioning of the public sector from the government perspective. So, and I can tell you, I sound like I'm making a pitch here, but this is the best job and the best fit for me that I've experienced. And I love working with the staff. I love working with our constituents and working to solve the problems that we face. So that's that gives you a little perspective. Would you like to start with questions?
If you want to like make a statement to the questions yourself, that's okay. Otherwise, I'll just go through the questions if that's.
Would you please do that for me?
Sure, sounds good. So can you describe your main responsibilities as a county commissioner and maybe also talk about what unique about your district?
Well, I believe that, you know, and as I was reviewing these questions, it's important that we really understand what our roles are as commissioners. And I believe strongly that our positions across the 5 seats are about policy and making sure we're listening to our constituents and bringing forth policy discussions and changes if necessary. We manage only 3 positions, and we manage them as a 5-person team. And those positions are the Clean Water Services general manager or CEO, the CAO of the county, and the general counsel of the county. It's sometimes it's hard when you've been managing people for a long time to remember that your job isn't to manage individuals, but to manage the issue. And that's what I find I really try hard to focus on that. That said, we are in a position of being the face of the county in very many situations, and I depend heavily on staff to make sure I'm representing what the county positions are, and frankly, what the staff recommendations have been to us. So I feel like I have a very strong working relationship with our staff, but not from the standpoint of direction. I don't manage the staff, and I don't give them direction. I may ask for support, and I may we work together on developing presentations and that type of thing, but the staff clearly does not report to us. When you ask me about my district is unique for a couple of reasons. My district is the only district of the 4 that actually grew in the last census rating. So as we did our realignment, as we call it, or redistricting, which you might know it as, I lost constituents because I was out of balance. My district was larger than the others. So when you look at Washington County and how Washington County has grown, it's really mostly in District 2. So that's kind of an interesting feature. And when I'm the district that grows the most, you can imagine that I'm also the district that has the most development opportunities, the most permitting, all sorts of pieces that go together. The other thing that's unique about my district is that I am one of the most diverse districts in the county. The county is the most diverse county in the state, and in District 2, we see a really wide range of demographics, which is wonderful, and it makes my district unique. Another feature is that whereas District 3 has a large number of cities in District 3, I have a portion of Beaverton and a very small sliver of Hillsborough. So what happens is I'm not as engaged fully with the city councils as my fellow commissioners might be. But conversely, I'm very engaged with my CPOs because they are in our unincorporated areas where I need to make sure I'm functioning as well. So
what's a CPO?
A CPO is the community participation organizations. So they're the groups that we currently have that reach out to our community. I also hold forums, so I have contact with individuals who, like I said, are not represented in a city that live in urban unincorporated Washington County. So I have a large portion. Washington County, if you combined all of the urban unincorporated area, that population base would be the second largest city in the state. I don't know if you have heard this information, but it's the fact that that exists means that we provide services at an inordinately high level in relationship to other counties where their urban concentration is in their cities.
How would you sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
How would you differentiate the responsibility between the chair and other commissioners?
Well, I think the chair's role is at large. So the chair has to be aware of everything that's going on in all of the districts. And I think that that's important. But if you really boil it down to what the very essence of the difference between the chair and the commissioners by charter is that the chair controls the agenda. Now that sounds small, and when you just say those simple words, the reality is that's a very big issue. And when you control the agenda, you really address which issues we're going to be working on, what our work plan looks like. And frankly, I believe Kathryn has done a really good job in organizing how we work together as a group, organizing our meetings and being very planful about how we address the issues that are on our plate, which is a very big thing. So while she or the chair has that responsibility of the agenda, they also have been elected by all of the constituents in Washington County. So that person needs to respond to every constituent, I say, and I believe this is a commonly held viewpoint, is that we are elected by our districts. We work for the county. The reality is that Kathryn is elected by the county to work for the county. So that's to me is a very big difference. But I am keenly aware of the issues that are percolating in my district, as is Commissioner Fye, Commissioner Snyder, Commissioner Willie, everybody is. And we advocate for our districts, but we also recognize that we work for the county as a whole. Does that answer your question? Yep. I'm sorry you can't see my face.
Thank you for the answer. That makes sense. How has so actually what committees and boards and community outreach are you involved in, or do you regularly attend?
Well, it's changed a little bit. It changes every year because, well, not every year, but when we have a new commissioner come on, we kind of mix up, what we're responsible for. I have the responsibility of the Metro Policy Advisory Committee. I'm on MPAC, and I report back to the commissioners about that role at Metro. I'm also on the Regional Waste Advisory Committee, and that's a relatively new role for an elected official in Washington County. That came out of my participation on advisory committee to the regional waste group, and one of our recommendations was more elected officials in that group. So I have those two roles at Metro. Internally, I work on, I'm advisory to URMDEC, which is the Urban Roads Maintenance, see if I can get this straight, and you may need to help me out here. The Urban Roads Maintenance Advisory Committee. And what we do there is look at what types of opportunities are available for local areas to utilize funds that have not been already assigned to improving our pavement condition index, to bring in crosswalks, sidewalks, bike paths, those types of things. And they work closely with the community to do that. And then I'm also the board, I'm assigned to Work Systems, Inc. I have a very strong relationship in the workforce development area. So I sit on the Work Systems, Inc. executive committee, as well as their board. And workforce development is very important to us. And we at the county do have contracts with WSI to provide services for us. So, and I don't think I'm forgetting anything else, but I'm busy, I'll tell you that.
Thanks. So how has your role and responsibility changed in scope and complexity in the last couple of years? If you can touch on like some concrete examples, that'll be great.
Was the question, how has my role evolved?
In the last 2 years, since the last Selby Commission, like how has your responsibilities or roles changed in the either like the scope of what you do or the complexity of what you do?
Well, I think as the county becomes more complex in what our pressures are, when we look at budget pressures, when we look at currently the pressures from the federal government, when we look at the relationships that we have with our community over a myriad of issues, the role intensifies. And for me personally, the growth, it's been an amazing growth experience to be in this role for 6 years. And as you grow and you mature through the role, you take on more and more responsibilities. You reach out for responsibilities. You look for opportunities that you can provide the experience that you've had, whether in my case, I've had a lot of experience in HR related issues. I've had a lot of experience in the areas of energy related things, sustainability related issues. So you tend to go where you have a comfort level and can provide value. This year, I am vice chair. This is my second role as vice chair. So there are added responsibilities when you're vice chair and the chair is not available. We've been going through a great deal of, as you're well aware, of upheaval at Clean Water Services. That's taken a tremendous amount of time, and due to some of the complexities as vice chair, I've had the lead on several issues. So I'm very focused there. Our budget, when you're in your 5th year of budget reduction, your awareness, your focus just keeps escalating higher and higher and higher, because you know the level of constriction that the county's feeling. I've had this experience in the workplace, but you become more and more keenly focused on how we're going to get through all of these steps. So that's another area. I'd also say that of all the commissioners, and we all have different interest areas that we just kind of are drawn to. I've been very close to the sheriff's office. Even in the very beginning, I started attending their kind of a graduation ceremony when they receive their badge, when they move up in the organization. About 3 years ago, I started attending at least one time per year. I attend every patrol briefing, every jail briefing, and have monthly meetings with the chief under chief, is it under deputy? Now I'm forgetting, Ann. You're gonna have to help me here too. But anyway, I have monthly meetings, and I'm very close to the sheriff's office to make sure I understand what issues we face there. I was very engaged after the murder of George Floyd to understand what the issues are that we face here in our community with our public safety, and I wanted to make sure I was a bridge in any way possible for issues that we face. So I was a champion for the body-worn cameras. I've been a champion for the upgrade to those and the taser opportunities that we have. Are you there still?
Yep.
Okay, good. I thought I'd lost you for a minute. So does that give you an idea of what,
That makes sense. How much time per week do you think you spend on this role, including meetings and community outreach, everything included?
How much time right now? Or, I mean,
or maybe on average, let's say.
I can tell you that over the course of my 6 years here, it has escalated dramatically. Right now, during this time frame between April and June, I probably average, and this might 50 to 55 hours a week. And I know that it sounds like that couldn't possibly be true, but it really is. I mean, it's a big job during budget time. It's a tremendously big job. And during this issue with Clean Water Services, that has demanded a lot of my personal attention. So, you know, I frequently get on the phone at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm in meetings like this through the evening. So it's been a lot. During the summer, it slows down. It isn't quite as intense. There's also a lot of community events that happen in the month of May. There are galas to attend. There are support opportunities for so many of our community-based organizations that are looking for funding and holding their fundraising events. So I attend as many of those as I can possibly attend, because I believe it's important for us to have a face in that arena as well.
Okay.
I will tell you, and I don't know if anybody has mentioned this before, that I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, previously the commissioners had a $20,000 fund that they were allocated annually to give to community-based organizations, and that was part of how we supported our community-based organizations. We no longer have those funds available, and because of that, I think it's even more important that we have that face in the community. So that's why, you know, as the budget shrinks, I find myself out in the community more and more.
Thanks. Are there any special projects or initiatives managed by you?
Managed by me or initiated by me, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
For? I think that, yeah, there've been a couple. I have been a really integral part of the funding and the support for behavioral issues, starting with the Center for Addiction Triage and Treatment, and ensuring that I was always in Salem and talking to our legislators about the importance of getting money there, bringing in outside funders to do tours. I was always engaged with that, and I'm so excited to see our first days open. It's just remarkable. We've got a great staff that are doing that. The other, in the same area, I've done a lot of advocacy work around different bills that are in Salem right now. I have a solid relationship with a lot of legislators, so I'm frequently called on to make calls or make appearances and advocate I believe that there's a hand up here by Ms. Tabora.
Yes, I just wanted to let you know it's been about 20 minutes. So you have 5 more minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And then the other thing that I'm really proud of is making sure that we continue to have available to the community the West Slope Library. We took that funding out of general fund and we have moved it under the Garden Home Library, and I manage that community process along with our great library staff, so that in essence the community didn't feel the change, felt supported during the change, and the staff did as well. So and that's in my district. So what other questions? And I'm just rambling
Yes.
on. Thank you for the
No,
time.
that is good. So yeah, so I think I'll just try to be quick for a couple of other questions and then open the floor. How do you see the scope changing in the next couple of years? Is it like staying the same, or do you see anything increasing from what you have now?
From my perspective, the way the scope will change in the next couple of years is that we have to be laser focused on our expenditures and our revenue base. And we have a lot of initiatives in place right now as we look at cost of service and as we explore revenue opportunities. We cannot continue to live in an environment where we're cutting this amount of money every year. It's just not possible to serve our community in the way that we need to serve our community. So short of tax reform at the state level, we need to do some work here locally to make sure we can fund the services that we are mandated to provide and that our constituents expect to receive.
Do you believe the Washington County Commissioner and Chair Selby fairly reflects the scope of the responsibilities of the role?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your whole question.
So in your opinion, does the Selby for the county commissioners and the chair reflect the scope of the responsibility they have? Is it like, do they fairly reflect the scope?
So does the salary reflect the scope of work?
In your opinion?
Yeah. I think when you look at the expectations, when you involve clean water services, when you involve the changing nature of our community presence with our funding reducing, it probably doesn't reflect the scope of work. I don't believe. And by the way, one of my concerns in having a salary that reflects the scope of work is so that we as an organization, we can attract people who don't need to have another job to do this job. That's really important to me. And I think that I'm just going to put that out there on the record, that I really want to see the salary reflect the work that we do, so that when somebody is looking at running for this position, it won't be, gee, I can't live if I take that job or if I win that seat. I won't have enough money to feed my family or whatever. So I just want to put that up there too.
Thanks.
Just an editorial comment.
Sounds good. I'll open it to a couple of other questions, but I want to make sure that if any of the other commissioners, Selby board members want to ask, go ahead. That's something that I haven't covered or something that you guys had as a follow-up. Please go ahead.
There must be something.
I think there were some other questions that we had agreed to, but just wanted to make sure that I didn't have a burning question before I go to those.
No, I think we have some few questions left. You can go ahead with those.
Sounds good. So in terms of the support staff, how do you see Washington County Board comparing to maybe the neighboring counties of similar size? And maybe any like challenges or any experiences that you want to mention there?
First of all, I want to say that we have a great staff. We have wonderful people, and I have the opportunity to work with great people. You know, there's never enough people. There's never enough to do all the work that you want to get done. I think that as I look at this role, I think it's really hard for the staff assistants that are assigned to 2 commissioners to get all the work done. I think that we, I know that I've been partnered with Commissioner Willie for the 6 years that we've been commissioners together to share the same staff assistant, and we're pretty good about balancing that. But nonetheless, I think our staff assistant works many more hours than she should have to based on the fact that she supports 2 people. So, you know, I'll put that out there. I think I worry about our communications staff. I worry about the fact that we don't have the depth of communications to really do the outreach that we need to do when, particularly when we're in these very difficult times that we're facing. So, and when we look at the overall budget and the staff that we've cut and what we need to do to come back to a functional level, when you're talking about the sheriff's office and others, we're in a tough spot, and we have to be very creative, and we better damn well figure out how we're going to get more revenue in the door and assess what our services are so that we can continue to do the job the way we should be doing it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
what
But I
do you
don't
do-
have an opinion about it.
Thanks for the background and information. What are the differences in responsibilities do you see of Washington County board members versus like the Clackamas or Multnomah County board members?
You know, we're so different in our structure that it's really hard to compare. You know, there's different responsibilities for Multnomah County commissioners in the bureaus that they lead, those types of things. But you know, when you boil it all down, we are elected by the constituents to do the job that they expect us to do. So, you know, that's the leveling factor for me across all the commissions is are we meeting the expectations of the people that pay their taxes, the people that vote us into office and hold us accountable. So, yes, there's differences, and we could go through all of them, but it doesn't really matter to me. And I'm not one that compares salaries between the 3, because I think we're all unique in our own way. I think we have to look internal to what the job is, what the functions are, and do our assessment from that base.
Sounds good. I think this covers all the questions that we have. I think we still have a couple of minutes before Commissioner Harrington will join. So I'll steal the question that from Maria, I guess. So this is not one of the written questions, but just we were thinking about like, so what are your thoughts about the salaries that as they compare to maybe the private sector versus the public service aspect of the elected officials? Like, how do you, like what, we're not looking for like a particular answer, but just wanted to see your thoughts on the balance between the two.
I came from the private sector at Pacific Corps. The amount of work and the amount of effort that and my focus, I think that my salary would easily be tripled if I were there again. I would be, I left at a VP level. I would probably, this amount of work, this amount of responsibility, it would certainly be at the, probably at the executive VP level. And that salary range would be, in the, I don't know, now probably 400 to 500. I was making quite a bit more than I'm making now when I left. So, and that was in 2006. I think one of my kind of things that I laugh about is the car allowance that we get here is less than half what I received at Pacific Corps when I left in 2006. So, I mean, it's just kind of, it's kind of silly that it's considered a car allowance. And I'm just making that point because it's so different. It's apples to oranges. I don't think it's I don't think you can make the comparisons you asked me to, and I can kind of balance out, but we're in two different worlds. So, and I wouldn't expect the same type of compensation. I don't have shareholders. There's a lot of different pieces. I have constituents, which is very different dynamic.
Okay. I
Thank
think
you so
that
much.
covers everything that we had. So go ahead, Nadia.
Thank you so much. I was just thanking you for your directness and being very direct with us.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Slight issues, but
okay, I'm going to turn this off because I do want to take a few minutes just a couple quick minutes to talk about the work that you're doing here, the work that our other boards and commissions do is a huge asset to the county. And the longer I'm in this role, the more I recognize the amount of wisdom, guidance that we get from this group as well as others. And I do want to express my appreciation. I think it's really important because part of the reason that we can do what we do is the way that we're structured. And you are all part of that structure now. So I really appreciate it. And I know that you are extremely thoughtful in how you move forward. And I am highly respectful of the conclusions that you come to. So I thank you for your work. And I'm very sincere about that. And it's important to me that you understand that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Treece.
Absolutely. No last questions? Like how many dogs do I have? Only one. Okay, well, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Treece, for joining us and giving us your time.
Okay, take care.
Thank you, Commissioner Treece. Welcome, Chair Harrington. And Chair, I'll leave it up to you.
Thank you, Chair Harrington, for joining us today. Just to save on time, I'll just quickly introduce all of us. I'm the chair for this Survey Commission for this 2-year term. This is my first time on such a board. I have a background in electrical engineering. It's been a pleasure to serve here. Madhya Amjad is our vice chair. And then Masood, Rashid, and Ibrahim Turki are the other 2 board members for the Survey Commission. We had a 5th person who had to drop out, so this time we only have 4 members. Thank you so much for taking the time of sending us information, including detailed answers to the question that you had. Maybe you can give us a little bit of background on yourself as well, and then anything that you want to add, and then maybe we'll touch on some of the questions that we might want any follow-ups on. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And if I might, I would like to start with a correction for the written information or the advance information that I gave you on page 6, well, page 6 of my version, under question 5. How much time per week do you dedicate to this role? Towards the end of the second line, I meant to say, I work a full day once a month on the weekends. So I don't work a full day every weekend. No, not at all. That would be bad for my personal life. So let me start at the beginning then. Hello, thank you very much for serving on the Salary Commission. I know I join my colleagues in appreciating your making the time and taking thoughtful consideration. I was elected in this position in 2018. So I started as the chair in January of 2019, at the same time that Commissioner Pam Treece and Commissioner Jerry Willey started as district elected commissioners. Prior to my serving as the chair of the Washington County Board of Commissioners, I served in a different nonpartisan elected role on the regional government, the Metro Council, where my district was called District 4, which include half of the urban area of Washington County. Metro is a unique regional government, has a lot to do with requirements that the state provides, some federal transportation and other things. That was my first elected position. I was elected in 2006 and served 3 4-year terms, so 12 years from 2007 through 2018. So this is serving as an elected official is my second career. My first career was in high tech, where I managed large software development groups, also marketing and technical support groups. I moved here to Washington County in early 1990. So my high-tech career spanned 22 years. Like a couple of you, my degree was in electrical and computer engineering. But I like to think that we each take stock of our lives at different points. And my last few years at Intel, I was struggling with meeting a very important personal goal, and that was to contribute to my community in a significant, but more importantly, in a sustained manner. And I felt very fortunate in my life. Yes, I worked hard, but the community also gave me tremendous opportunity. So my husband, who also worked in high tech, he and I talked about it and made the family decision that I would step back from that and figure out what I was going to do. So I worked as a community advocate volunteer for a couple of years, and that included serving on the Washington County Committee for Community Involvement, my local citizen participation organization, but also on a Metro Transportation Subcommittee. And I worked with a bunch of other women trying to get women to serve on appointed or elected boards. And my colleagues at the time said, wait a minute, Kathryn, you have business experience, you're community advocate, why are you not running for office? So I was approached by some others as well. There were 2 open seats, a Metro Council seat and a County Commission district seat, actually District 2, the one Pam holds. But I wasn't ready. So I did my research. I wasn't ready to do county work because of all the health and human services and public safety aspect of it. But I'm a total geek. I was interested in land use and transportation. I was serving on a Metro committee. Heck, I knew what Metro did. It's one of the reasons why Mark and I moved here. So anyway, long story short, I ran, had a runoff as well, and served at Metro. Anyway, that's sort of the condensed version. I feel very fortunate to have had the opportunity to serve on the Washington County Board of Commissioners. My husband retired a couple of years ago, and at the beginning of this year, I made the decision that it's time for me to retire. He and I are very athletic, and I had back surgery in 2019, which really shook me up. And then my brother died, committed suicide in January of 2022, and that shook me up too. So while I still can, I would like to enjoy some retirement years with my husband while my body is still physically able to do a bunch of adventure things. So But anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to put together your questions and for reading my material in advance. I'm here to help you with any questions you may have.
So I think your interview is a little bit unique because normally like we are asking people to either asking the questions or them to cover. So I think I'll give you anything that, so you answered the questions that we had, but anything that you want to add that is not already covered or anything that you want to re-emphasize, feel free to go through that. And then I will open the floor for all the commissioners to ask any follow-ups that they want.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I might have neglected to attach a piece of data in the file set that I gave you. I talked about it in your second set of questions about salary perception in comparison with other boards on question 3, where I talked about each district commissioner for Multnomah County has 3 staff positions. And I had meant to attach information right from the Multnomah County website, particularly for Commissioner Moyer. The other commissioners do have staff, but for some reason, as they updated their website recently, they've removed the staff information. So I believe you've probably heard a bunch about how every county is different. One of the things that I think we struggle with is handling both Washington County and Clean Water Services. But we've learned through our legal team at CWS that the Oregon rules for compensation for service district board members is very limited, at most $50 a day for each day we do of that work. So we have to go through the process on that. I have really valued that Ms. Angie and her staff have appreciated showing me early versions of things and asking me my thoughts to help them shape up proposals for the board. And I think very highly of my colleagues. They're good commissioners. They work hard. They're diligent. And prior to you all starting, I went back and read the minutes from the prior salary commissions, and I was a little dismayed at some of the things that some of the, well, that were in the minutes. Commissioner Rogers was not elected. He was elected in his last term the same time that the Salary Commission was created, and he did not support full-time work at all. In addition, he had his own business, but his philosophy was that he wanted to ensure that people who owned businesses could serve in these positions. Well, that's just not realistic. The needs of our county, with the population that we are, with the mixed portfolio that we have, and with the challenges and funding opportunities we have right now, just does not allow for such a simple approach. I did think a little bit more about the question of the scope of what the board does and responsibilities. And really, it boils down to the scope of the problems has changed, even in these 6.5 years that I've been on the board. And the budget challenges are incredibly difficult. So we're having to spend more time with staff support to figure out how can we raise more money. It would not surprise me if we started a new revenue investigation, and we might have to go, in addition to the 2 levies that are on the November ballot, we may have to go to the ballot next year with just a general county local option levy. Otherwise, we're going to have to just cut services so bad that it'll be embarrassing. You know, our community expects better, but we're living with the realities of the community decision over 30 years ago. Now, I'm going to keep trying mightily. I think the state legislature should reset the assessed value when older properties sell, rather than keeping them at the level that's 30 years old. Because people don't realize it when they buy an existing house versus a new house, that there are such disparities. Anyway, I don't mean to ramble on. I feel very fortunate that that I get to do this work. You won't find any of us wanting to advocate for more staff support for ourselves, because we're having to cut positions that serve the community. You know, it's just, could we use them? Absolutely. I know each of my colleagues would benefit from having one person solely immediately. We also need additional communications help so that we can have regular newsletters and social media assistance. But, you know, we're faced with hard choices over employees that are already doing work versus this additional help. So anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. I will open it to anybody who has questions. Please go ahead. Maria, do you want to start? You're on mute.
It's okay. You do it all the time.
Yeah, sorry. Hi. I had one question. I was listening to you talking about how the salaries should be comparable to recruit full-time people who can support their family. So, in regard to that, do you think that the commissioner salaries should be in par with the corporate sector, or what's your opinion about that? Like, or the private sector?
It's different work than the private sector. You know, I've been thinking about this a bunch lately, and you know, I don't know. I've not seen any salary commissions look at what the median income is in the county. You know, none of us are advocating that we be paid astronomical sums. But I'm, you know, I, as you could see in the voters pamphlet, I'm really hoping that we'll get people in their 30s or 40s to serve in these roles. And the district commission salary is not yet at the level to support that. You know, under the older system, circuit court judges, their salary was the determinant, right? And so their salary now is over $185,000. And originally the chair's salary was set at 80% of that, which would be $148,000. To me, the district commissioners should be paid that. I think the 10% differential between them and myself was pretty arbitrary, but I'd rather see their salaries bumped up and have that 10% differential, because I spend a lot of time in the chair role, and but I'm more concerned about lifting the district salaries up so that we can attract more younger people to serve in these positions. So.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I myself was looking at the circuit judge's salary this morning and wondering. Yeah, thank you.
Was my information useful?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, good.
Maybe if you can, so you talked about like how the responsibilities and for the chair and other commissioners vary. Can you talk in terms of like the how kind of time, how much impact on the time that you have to spend, and how it goes from the time that you have to spend, how it impacts that maybe?
So I cram a lot of work into each and every day, and it's one reason why I attach certain information for you so that you can see the level of looking ahead and trying to figure out how I can ensure that we make highest and best use of board's time together. And as I look ahead, the jail and community corrections planning, the commissioners we're still going to need to have liaisons on that, just like we had with the local option levies. Then they're going to have to work on the funding appeal to the voters to go for a bond measure for that. We've got a bunch of ordinance work that's in the queue because of state requirements and metro requirements. I've been spending a lot of my time on the homelessness program with Metro and all they've been putting us through the last couple of years, and our staff is totally stressed out. I mean, it's just way too much overload. But you know, we've been trying to appeal to our state legislators for a while. Stop adding more to the plate, and I think it at this rate we're going to end up with lawsuits where we're not going to be able to comply with their requirements, and so it's going to get really messy in the next 4 to 8 years, I'm afraid. But the full board's going to need to spend more time advocating, and that means more than just me is going to have to be regularly attending the Association of Oregon Counties monthly meetings. It means we're all, and I've made the choice to not stay real proactive in my relationships with state legislators. Well, that would have to change. I'm not quite sure what I would give up. But you know, something's got to give, and it you know, I need to sleep too.
I just want to let you know that it's been about 20 minutes, so you have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny.
So anyway, yeah.
The more mandates coming from a state, it should be a challenge for all counties, right? Is that correct? My understanding is not just for Washington County. That impacts every county in Oregon, or is it
Well,
different?
some counties have actually turned over certain responsibilities. I learned, for example, when COVID came about, that Wallowa County gave public health back to the state long ago. So the state had to carry that load. But it's things like trying to figure out how we can ensure the state the state requires that we have a law library, but they don't have a system that defines what you have to do with that. So our law librarian and the one from Lane County got a grant and did a study, and now we went to the legislature this session to ask them to set up a task force to examine this, because they haven't been willing to fund the work that's necessary. So you know, it's just there's this plethora of requirements that they underfund or don't fund at all. You know, all the housing stuff they've done over the last 2 cycles. They gave us no funding to do that work. So we've had to repurpose our general fund and essentially steal from Peter to pay Paul. And what we've done this budget season is we've just said, okay, things that are discretionary, we're having to move away. So that's one. The clearest example is this budget we're just finalizing now, the child support payment enforcement. We're giving back to the state. You know, the Washington County District Attorney's Office has been doing a phenomenal job for 50 years, but we can't fund it anymore. And the board is involved in that decision making. We have to give guidance to the CAO, which means we have to have a really good understanding of why these services are valuable to the community. And, you know, we kicked off a community service level assessment, and we got information from that last year that helped us provide guidance to Ms. Angie. And then Ms. Angie was able to use that with all of her department directors to help put together this proposed budget. Otherwise, we're not making thoughtful decisions. We're making careless decisions without having a good understanding of the impact to community members' lives. Then it looks like politics. We're pretty good about being thoughtful and not being seen as playing political game.
Do we have any other questions from any other people?
I have one quick question, Chair, on that the $50 per day for each day you spend on a special district. I know that's not much, you know, but the question is that already reflected in the overall salary, or is it added each time?
No, what they did at least last budget season is worked with Ms. Angie's team to figure out how much time our staff was needing to spend to support all the packet prep and whatnot, and just pulled a number out of the air and said, well, what if we're able to offset 5% of the salary, which isn't legal per se. So that's why we're having to totally retool and make sure we're following Oregon ORS, the Oregon Revised Statutes.
Thanks.
Yep. And sadly, we've learned through the media attention on clean water services that things aren't as well sorted as we had thought. So not only are we in a position of needing to do a national search for a new CEO, but we're going to have to spend more time and look at the whole organization and asking some questions and probably investing time to update different code and whatnot for clean water services. You know, it is a stellar organization. They're very lean, but they need a board to be involved to help ensure that value is being delivered to all the ratepayers. So I don't want to make your evening any longer than it already is. So in closing, let me say, I know you're going to make a thoughtful decision. Thank you very much. I hope that through the interviews, you've been given a flavor of what our work is all about. If you heard conflicting messages at all and you need clarification from us, please use Ann Ober to help us get what you need. Between she, Clerk Moss, and Adriana, I know that they're going to ensure you have information that you need. So thank you very much for volunteering your time and your expertise in doing this work for us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much for participating today.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much, Commissioner Harrington, for joining us. Have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Okay, with that, most of our planned agenda is taken care of. Go ahead, Tony.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I wanted to, before we open for public comment, I wanted to ask two questions. So the first one was just a clarification on what is needed in terms of the comparator document that you needed turned into a PDF. We just sent you, and just sent you the internal comparators. Was it actually the external comparators? Which wasn't, okay, that's it.
So I don't know if you can see, it says error
Oh, okay.
and you can't.
That's from the original, because I don't think that has changed actually since the beginning. So I'll just make sure that we get that as well. I think it was all part of the same document originally, but let me double check that and to you.
I have one more question. I don't know, maybe Anne, you can answer this for me. So the salary we are working on the base salary. Do the commissioners get that 6% PERS pickup?
You know, that is an excellent question. So I've asked that question today
Okay.
because I need you to have it. Just so everyone else is aware, why Medea is asking is because staff this year, instead of receiving a COLA increase, received the 6% pickup in the budget. So basically what that means is that our salary line will not change. We will still receive exactly the same salary from last year as we received last year. However, when I open my paycheck, it is going to be 6% higher.
From the PERS.
Because right now my paycheck is where we take the PERS payment for my 6% deposit into the PERS account for the extra PERS account contribution. So for employees, it will feel like we received a 6% raise. So I have asked a couple of individuals for clarity around whether or not PERS, if that's happening automatically or if that would be a part of your calculation. So I just need until the next meeting to be able to give you that response, but I am doing some research on it and I will get it for you.
Thank you.
That sounds good. And if you figure out the answer before the meeting, you think it will be okay to, yep, perfect. Thank you.
I'll just send it to you.
Go ahead, Masood.
Out of curiosity, Chair Harrington did mention about the median income of the county itself, and I wanted to get that data. Yes, I can Google and find that data, but it will be nice to have it officially received from the county itself. That if we have that kind of data available, what is the median income of the county?
You can do that, but I do have one question. So typically that would be done by person or by family of 4. Which would you prefer?
Ooh.
Or both. I can ask our economic development department to also get you both.
Yeah, but I would like to see it both. Not that it has any relevance in my mind, but since she mentioned it, I wanted to have it in front of us.
Different numbers. So
yes,
I will get you both of those numbers and you all can decide how to use it.
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tony.
Yes, another question we wanted to ask you is Mary Rowe, our HR consultant, is available for the future meetings in case you want to have her on hand. Shall we ask her to join us for the next meetings? I can pull up the...
Yeah, let's pull up the agenda.
So this is what we have scheduled for next week, June 5th. You were also going to, at that June 5th meeting, decide if you needed to actually extend.
Yeah, I think so. based on this, I think our plan was that our committee, so our targeted committees basically meet and come with some recommendations on how to use the external and internal comparators, as well as, and then maybe also have like the report, any updates to the reports, and a lot of work that we are planning. Let's see if we can get through all of this, or will the first two items take most of the time. I think for the discussing the external comparators and internal comparators, I do think it'll be useful to have the HR person.
Okay, so well, should we actually have her maybe hold June 12th as well, just in terms of
Sure. And then if it turns out that after the June 5 meeting, we are okay, then we can let her know. But sure, it might make sense to ask her to be available for both.
and then I wanted to offer, do you need any support for the subcommittees that are meeting from me or staff to attend?
Uh,
I was
sorry, go
going to just say that there are two committees that I am aware of. As Faisal, you and I need to work together on a few things, and then Madhya and I need to actually start putting together put together a final report. Why don't we just use the email that we already have set up, that hey, and say that hey, when should we sit down as two people to work on it.
Okay, great. So we'll just be all in communication via email about this.
All I'm suggesting is to organize that, hey, because seems like if I follow the process, Faisal and I need to meet together first. So Faisal just send me a note, hey, when should we meet in next 2-3 days, so we have a little bit of data, and we have looked through all the material, and actually provide it and put together a short blurb for us to present on 5th. And then obviously Madhya and I are going to do the same thing too, so we can work on the actual report itself after we have made some decisions what to do, and then loop in brother of Turkey here pretty much.
Yeah, so my plan was kind of similar. I think what I was thinking was maybe Ibrahim and I can think kind of on our own, how do we want to use the external data, and then communicate on email on kind of makes sense. And then basically come up with a recommendation, and one of us will get the AR to actually create some notes that we will then present to the next meeting. So, and then if we have some questions during that, I think I'm sure that we'll bug you guys on email. Go ahead, Madhya.
Sorry, I just regarding information we were collecting about Mr. Masood just mentioned that. I wanted to add, can we also have circuit judge salary information added to that? Just from
What salary again?
the circuit judge.
Oh, circuit judge.
Okay. Anything else that we need? I think the next couple of weeks are going to be pretty busy for us. Anything else that you guys think that you need that's not available? I'm sure Anne will be okay if we email her after the oh, you asked and we forgot. Thank you so much, Anne and Tony and Kevin and Adriana, for supporting us. I think without you guys, this would have been impossible.
Without you, we wouldn't actually be doing our jobs. So thank you so much for taking this on. I really appreciate it. I also just needed to disclose to you, I believe your next meeting is at 6:30 p.m. I am going to be here for the end of the meeting, but not the beginning. So I will jump in for probably the last hour of your meeting, but I do have a conflict that starts at the same time as the meeting you are meeting at. But Mary will be here. Clerk Moss will be here. Adriana or someone else who is amazing will be here. And I think that's all I have, but feel free to email me. I've got a running list of things we need to get back for you, and I'll work on that this week.
Okay. Thank you.
Out of
Go ahead.
curiosity, I forgot, and this is my old neurons are not helping me today. I know that at some point in time there was we had a history lesson that how the commissioner salaries were determined long time ago. Now that we have revived that discussion again, but as a district judge, being as a baseline to ascertain or calculate the salaries for the commissioner and the chair. How long ago when was that decision made? In 1940s, 50s, 60s, whenever, and the what was the driver to change it in 6 years ago?
Masood, some of this information you might be able to get from the minutes of the first
Okay.
Salary Commission. And then for me personally, watching some of the videos of, like, I haven't watched the recording of every meeting, but I did go through, watch some of the recordings of the first Salary Commission meeting where they were kind of discussing these kind of questions themselves. And sometimes those meetings actually captured much more better information than just the minutes could have given. So I highly recommend for those questions with that.
Also, like
Sorry.
the second part of your question, in 2021, Measure 34 was introduced, and that's how it changed from the 80% circuit judge salary to a salary commission. And Chair Harrington was the one who proposed this, and she attached it to her
Yep.
list of
So the
documents
motion itself is actually attached to the information that we got from,
from
so that
Chair
covers that.
Harrington. Yeah.
Anything else anybody wants to cover? Okay, with that, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public comment. Kevin, can you moderate public comments for us?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Is there any member watching this meeting via Zoom that would like to provide public comment to the Salary Commission for up to 2 minutes? I'll give you just a moment to utilize the raise hand function. Not seeing any hands, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I think we have covered all the planned agenda items as well as some of the clarifying questions or requests we had. I don't have anything else. So with that, I will call the meeting done for today. Best of luck, everybody, for the work ahead of us. Feel free to communicate on the email and stuff. And I will, for the subcommittees, I will let them decide if they want to meet face-to-face or email, however works for everybody.
Or maybe over phone, or like it's a little bit easier to talk than
Yep.
just typing.
Exactly. Like, feel free. I think it's just the four of us. We have been working kind of together, so familiar with each other. So yeah, feel free to work however you guys think is the most efficient.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Take-
Bye.
Bye.